Hello guys, here we are, finally back speaking about the ultimate hat-trick tutorial. This time we try to improve a little bit the level, speaking about a more complicated topic, the best specialties within the game in 2025. And now before to start, please follow the channel, but not only YouTube. We have Instagram, Twitch, everything will help me. Push the like, any comment is more than welcome, and now we can start to enjoy the video. Let's start! And here we are with the introduction. Just three pillars, the basic one, the main one also too, that help us to understand also the next points. For more details, I will leave you the link of the HATTRICK forum with all the specific details about the specialties, how it works, etc. Just 3 points. So the first one, you need to know that depending on your lineup or the lineup of the opponent, you will have more probabilities to see a specific event. What does it mean? The composition of the lineup. How many specialties are included in your lineup in the opponents? What does it mean? If you have a lot of quick players, you will have more chance to see quick events. So this is the first. Second point is changed the engine in the latest years, and now the midfield is supporting you to win specific events, but just few ones: the corner, the experienced forward, and the inexperienced defender. Just that ones. For all the other specialties that we'll see later, it's not a topic related to the midfield. It's just a matter of number of specialties in the field that is connected on the point one. So how many players you have in your lineup with that specialty, and also compared to the opponent. Third point, simply a positive event, like for as always the example of the quick. So if you win a specific quick event and you gain that event, you will have less probabilities to see a second one during the game. On top of that, if you have a negative event, like for example the auto goal of an unpredictable player, you will have really decreased chance to see another one. So these 3 points, okay? For the others, I will leave you the link. Now, let's go in the second topic. Always to understand better the scenario for the next topics that are the main one. Why the specialty are so important. So why we are giving so relevance to this topic, and because a lot of time the users are saying, but you need to pay too much these players. I prefer a very good no specialty player that have really good skills. It's right also depending on your budget, but why the specialty are so relevant? Let's have a look at how the match engine work. I did a video, I will leave you also here a link to this video that you can check later. But here the main topic for the specialties, thanks to L'Alpa and Licarana, that are two of the main users that are creating data and contents in the HATTRICK forum to understand these topics. So, how it works? We have two teams, Team A, Team B. Team A can gain 5 chances by itself and nobody can steal from him. As opposite, also the opponent Team B can gain 5 chances. These chances are specific for the two teams, but they need to have a good level of midfield to gain all 5 actions. On top of that, you have 5 chances that are in the middle. These ones are not specific of one team or another one. Is in the middle, and depending on the midfield could be gained by the Team A or the Team B. On top of that, so it means that you could have, if you have 99% of midfield control, you could have your 5 chances plus the 5 chances that are in the middle. So you could have 10 normal chances. What you could have on top, the extra chances that are made thanks to the special event. Therefore, this is the relevance, that on top of the normal chances, you can gain extra chances that can generate goals, expected goals. And this is an important concept. So, in general, you can imagine that if you have a good team with good specialties, you could gain from 1 to 3 special extra chance due to the special event. The maximum 3 is also if you play creativity tactic, and you can gain, thanks to that, from 0.3 to 1 goals. It's huge, guys. It's really an advantage compared to the opponent. So this is why it's so relevant. And to have a good influence on that, on the extra chances, on the expected actions and the expected goals, speaking about specialties, you need to maximize them, put in the right place, in the right role. So this is why also in Italy we are, as scouting, as a coach, we are trying to select the best specialties in the best role, because thanks to that you can have a good influence on the expected goals of the team. So now let's see. We have 7 specialties, from the quick, the unpredictable, the powerful, the head, the technical, the supporter, and the resilient. As always, I forgot, forgetting this specialty, the resilient. You need to know that the specialty player are more expensive than the normal one. You will pay them 10% more, considering the fact that they are so relevant. So also here, speaking about the users that are saying why you are always pushing the specialties, etc. Of course, sometimes if you have a limited budget and you find a great player without specialty, you pay less for sure. Also, the player itself, you will pay less the salary. I can understand that you could have some no specialty player, but in a national team where we don't have problem of budget, and also in a top team that maybe is with a good economics, with a good budget, you could choose to have 11 players with 11 specialties. So the beauty of HATTRICK is that depending on the manager, depending on the quality of him to manage the budget of the team, could buy players, because the club are not like the national teams, and you need to do trade-off selecting the best players for your economy. Now let's go. So as said, we have 7 specialties, but in this content we will speak just about 5. Why? Because the other 2, that are the supporter and the resilient, they are not impacting the extra action and the expected goals. Therefore, they are useless from my point of view, because you need to improve the expected goals of your team. Therefore, these 5 specialty, the quick, the unpredictable, the powerful, and the head, and the technical, can support your team to increase the expected goals. That is your target, to improve your replays and to improve your chance to win the game. Now, the weight, the quality, the relevance of these 5 specialties are different. We could create a tier list, and we will see at the end. Now, let's go. Starting from the first one, that is the quick one. So, the quick players. Here you have more or less an overview that you will see for each specialty. First topic that you need to have clear in mind. We have defensive players, offensive players. On top of that, you have the bonus of the weather. So you will see here, maybe I won't mention always, but here check which specialty is impacted on the weather, etc. You need to know that some skill for each specialty to trigger an event, to score the goal, are impacted specific skills from the players that are creating the events and from the players that are defending the events. Therefore, for example, from the quick event, when you trigger the event of the quick that is making the goal, the relevant skill is the scoring one. And to trigger the goal is the scoring one. To defend the event is the goalkeeping, the defending of the defender. Therefore, the quick one will do his special action, attack skill versus defending defender. But after that, you will compare the attacking skill of the scorer to the goalkeeping of the goalkeeper. So this is also help you to understand how much is relevant the goalkeeper. That with his skill goalkeeping is always defending you from the special event of the opponents. Higher is the skill goalkeeping of the goalkeeper, higher chance you have to stop an event from a quick guy, from a unpredictable one, blah 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 blah. Okay? On top of that, some specialties are supporting specific tactic, and we will see. And here you have all the information of how many events can create this specialty, also depending on the role. So if he's a defender player, an offensive player. So this is general overview, how works this overview. Stop the video if you want to check something. I will go, I don't know, I will share with you some contents, some concepts that I think are interesting. First of all, I put some stars to give you a perception for my point of view how much is relevant the specialty depending on the role. So for example, the quick are, for my point of view, more relevant as offensive players, inner midfielder, wingers, forwards. If you want a quick player, is important to have here. You need to win the battle of the quick players, as I mentioned at the beginning. Depending how many players you have of a specific specialty, for example, how many quick players you have in the field, you could have more chance to win this event. Therefore, if you have 3 quick against just one of the opponent, you could have more chance to win the event. So it's important that, depending on your strategy, you are pushing that specs in your lineup to win the event. Therefore, the offensive player are really important as quick because they can score the goal and with the quick rushes on his own, and you need the scoring skill, and also can make an assist. So is important the passing skill of the player that is offensive. These two events cannot be generated by the defender, for example, so this is important. So the quick players in the defending position are just supporting to stop at 100%, 25%. About this, there are videos on YouTube, or in the link that I already mentioned, you will see a specific point in which you will see, I'll give you an example. The wingback stop at 100% the opponent winger. So this is the connection. So depending on where the opponent will put the offensive quicks, you can stop him putting in the right way your central defender or your wingback. Goalkeeper, not relevant. I won't mention. In the link of the forum you can see what he is doing, but I put also this. Give you a boost of penalties bonus in the latest minutes after the 120 minutes, just this. Why I put counter attack? Because when you have offensive player, you can improve the level of your counter attack. Meanwhile, if you have defensive player and inner midfielder players, you can decrease the tactic of your opponent. Of course, just the bonus one. So if a standard your opponent will do, I don't know, 20 in counter attack, you cannot decrease that level. But if your opponent is with 21 tactic level of counter attack thanks to his offensive quick players, you can decrease to 20, that was the basic level of his tactic, without that offensive quickers. So why, for my point of view, the quick ones are not so relevant in defending? Why? Because are not impacting the expected goals. As always, as I mentioned before, you need to Improve the expected goals, and all the offensive player quicks are improving thanks to the quick rush on his own and the quick rush and passes the ball. So, goal and assist. Meanwhile, here you are just stopping, but you can, despite stop thanks to the defenders, you can win already the event, putting more offensive player, more offensive quick ones. So if you win the event, your opponent won't have it. Here you could put the other specialties that are impacting the expected goals, and we will see later. With what? With the unpredictable, but we will see. A mention on play creativity. You could ask me why you are putting the quick players that are not influencing the level of play creativity, because play creativity is increasing thanks to the unpredictable one. Here I'm putting anyway play creativity because the quick events are common and they can create positive events, so goals, thanks to the assist, thanks to the goal. Obviously, more scoring you have, more possibility you have to score the goals. Therefore, the best one are the forwards that have a lot of scoring and they can convert the quick rusher on his own. Meanwhile, the wingers, maybe they don't have so much scoring, so maybe they can not convert the quick rush on his own. But anyway, the quick help to have more offensive player to win the events that you need to hope that you win the event thanks to the players that you have in the offensive part, and you have an assist maybe from the wingers, or anyway if you trigger the quick rushes on it, and on the quick rushes on his own will go to the forwards. So in 2-5-3, when you have a lot of forwards, maybe quick forwards, here it could be really interesting, and use play creativity to improve the chance to trigger the quick event that is one of the most important right now in the game, could be a good option. Unpredictable. So here you can see that I put a warning in the forwards and the wingers simply because you have also the negative event here. You can create an auto goal, let me say, so you can not only impacting the expected goal of your team but of the opponent team. And considering the fact that there are other specialties that are really interesting, from my point of view, also if the unpredictable player is really interesting because I have a lot of positive also events, also the forward and the wingers, I prefer to have other specialties that have no negative event, also if the unpredictable is not impacted on the weather. Meanwhile, you have malus on the quick ones. Anyway, this is my point of view. If is one of my team, I would like to choose firstly all the defensive players. For me are really relevant with the unpredictable, because you have a so powerful event that is the long pass that is just generated by the unpredictable players, that is impacting, is the most important event in the defense that is supporting you to impact the expected goals. You have just two specialties that can impact the expected goals from the defense, and this is the unpredictable and the head one, and we will see later the head one. So firstly, in this moment as it works the game, the only goalkeeper that I strongly recommend is the unpredictable, because he can create the long pass. The other ones are not impacting the expected goals. Defenders is the most important one. It's true that you could have a negative event like the wingers and the forward, but considering the fact that the negative event is different, firstly. Secondly, to decrease the chance to see this negative event, you need to have a defender skill developed, and with the defender you have a strong skill in defending, so you decrease the chance to have the negative event. Meanwhile, in the wingers the passing level is not so high sometimes, and also at high level you could anyway face this event. Meanwhile, for the defenders, the inner midfielder is not the passing skill that will decrease the chance to have the negative event, but the defending skill, that for sure in the defender and the goalkeeper, but also the inner midfielder, you could have 11, 12 defending that can decrease the chance to have this negative event. Meanwhile, as I told before, the long pass is so powerful. The inner midfielder, anyway, for me is anyway relevant. I put 1 star less because for me you need to have also the quick one there, because you need to win the battle of the offensive player quicks. So one inner midfielder you need to have also if there is the rain or something like that, that will decrease also sometimes your midfield. But if you play with the specialties, you need to win the event of the quick, you need to have an inner midfielder to have more quick than your opponent. But also the unpredictable in the midfield is important, because firstly, you won't have the malus of the weather, so your unpredictable player will always play. Also, the man marking with the unpredictable is less, is more difficult because you have a bonus. On top of that, the inner midfielder can do not only can do the special action. You have 3 kind of event. You have the unpredictable on his own, that is like the goal of the quick one, and you can have in the offensive player. All the players, excluding the goalkeeper, can do an action that is at the end an assist to a forward or to another player. But so 10 players can generate the special action, so it's important also to win this event. Therefore, you sometimes is not enough having 3 defenders or maybe 4. You need, because you cannot count in the unpredictable special action the goalkeeper, so you need to have maybe at least 1 inner midfielder to win it, because sometimes your opponent will have the forwards and the wingers, and also if he could do the own goal, so a negative event, he can generate the special action. Therefore, you need to at least have the same level number of unpredictable or even more. Therefore, okay, the defenders, but maybe 1 inner midfielder is important. On top of that, for sure, here, firstly, the unpredictable defender are powerful like the quick ones, and so if you play creativity is very good. Secondly, it's true that the unpredictable specialty is impacting positive, is boosting the level of the tactic play creativity. Therefore, it's important to put them. So this is more or less about the unpredictables. Now the powerful. This specialty is so nice. I think HATTRICK did a good job with the update in the latest years with this specialty, because they are so interesting, and even more in the clubs, and you will know and you will understand why. Firstly, the most important player right now in the game, the powerful striker. You need to have one. No brain decision. Just if you are playing extreme counter-attack tactic and you have a team completely based on counter-attack. If not, the powerful striker need to be in your team. Why? Because it's the specialty that right now is impacting more in the expected goals. Is event that won't go in the extra action but will be in order, so in the normal action, is a specific event in which maybe you have a normal action that is stopped by the opponent, so you are not scoring the goal, but you could have the chance to have your striker powerful that can make the goal thanks to this mistake. So, thanks to his playmaking skill, he will trigger the event, and so his playmaking skill that is so important for a powerful will be compared to the defending skills of the central defenders, depending how many they are. And if your player is with a good level of playmaking, he can trigger the events, and now with scoring skill he can create the goal, comparing as always the goalkeeping skill of the goalkeeper of the opponent. And for example, my player in my Falange Arancione team is creating a lot of powerful events by season, and with 15 playmaking, all the powerful events from the striker are positive. I'm doing every action that normal action that is not converted in goal, but there is the powerful event, it's goal for the moment. So it means that anyway 15 playmaking is already enough to trigger the event, and with 18 scoring, that is the level of the skill of my PNF, powerful normal forward. It's really creating the best forward within the game today in 2025. So powerful striker for sure. After that, you have the defensive inner midfielder, powerful, that is stopping the action of the opponent, and also with pressing is supporting. More powerful you have in the field, more is the level of the tactic of pressing. Here, depend on your strategy. I just put to 1 star, but here depends. Anyway, he's a good player. I'm used to leverage on the specialty, so here is not something that is creating more expected goal for your team, but for sure it is stopping the opponent, because is decreasing the action of the opponent, so is decreasing the expected goals. So depend on you. Meanwhile, maybe here is I'm wrong. I should put 3 stars. The defenders. You need to have a man marker, and your man marker at top level need to be a powerful. Why? Because you have the bonus 10% man marking, and so at high level, when you have opponents that are playing with inner midfielder with 18, 19 in playmaking, you need to have a man marker with a skill higher than them, and it's not easy. So you need a man marker 18 in defending, but on top of that, thanks to the 10% bonus, you could have 1.8 bonus, and so the skill of your powerful be higher than the main market player. And so here is the huge impact that you can do thanks to the powerful main marking. So in the clubs, and not in the national team right now, the powerful defender are so important. If you prefer a central defender or wingbacks, I leave you the choice depending on your club. Now, next, the head players, something that in the oldest HATTRICK years ago was everywhere. Every team was with head player and technical that we will see. The head are not relevant as in the past, but still are relevant. I think HATTRICK did a good upgrade, because helped the manager to diversify the strategy, speaking about the specialties, and that are less relevant than before, but still they are, because firstly they don't have the malus of the weather, so they are always competitive, let me say. On top of that, there are no malus, and you have bonus that can be taken both from the defensive player, both on the offensive players. Also, the defender can impact the expected goals. So this is important, because after the unpredictables, also the head can make goals from the defending with the specialty. And we have 2 kinds of events with head players. Firstly, with the offensive player, we have the winger to head. So the winger will do an assist to all the offensive players. So if you are lucky, will be the forward, and will be good, because the event is asking the winger skill of the winger, but who make the goal could be the forward, and need scoring that will be compared to the goalkeeping skill of the goalkeeper, as always. Therefore, could be an option select as to, after the, for example, the quick head player, because anyway the quick could be stopped at 100%, while the head no. So anyway, we'll see this later. Speaking about head, you can have the winger to head, therefore winger to another offensive player, and you need to scoring to make the goal, or the corner to head, that is different to the pure corner, but this corner will go just to an head player, that could be everyone, also a defender player, and won't be you won't have the comparison between scoring and the goalkeeping skill, but there will be will be counted how many head player you have compared to the opponent. So the defensive player of your team could defend, but in general you could defend with the heads. On top of that, your defender can support you to increase the expected goals in the corner. The goalkeeper can support you to defend the corner event just defensively, as I wrote. So the goalkeeper cannot do the goal if you have the positive event for you, but can defend in case your opponent will win the event. So this is important. Now the last specialty, the technical one. In the past it was so important for the defensive forward. Now it's another hat-trick. You have the bonus is decreased, and on top of that you have man marking, a malus on man marking, that if you have a technical guy, a lot of time the opponent will man mark the technical. You have the weather impact as is shown in the bottom. Why I'm telling you don't take the technical in any position, just the forward? Because the technical creates not tactical counter-attack. That means that is not as extra action, but will go to other events, and this event is not so frequent, and it's difficult to have a good impact in the expected goals, like the unpredictable and like the head. Therefore, no reason to have from my point of view. Also, in the midfield, you could have the event technical versus the head. The problem here is that you need scoring to score the event of the technical goes around the player. Therefore, scoring skill in all the midfield line is low. The only player that have a high level of scoring is the forward. Therefore, from my point of view, also if you have a huge risk to see man market that player from the opponent, if you are playing 2-5-3, so with 3 forwards, you have already the powerful, you have the quick one, you have the head one, I don't know, you have a player coming from the academies, is so strong, and you want to have a technical guy, could be an option. Sometimes will be boosted thanks to the weather. Sometimes you will have a malus. On top of that, if your opponent will have an inner midfielder head, for example, and the inner midfielder will be with not so much defending, you will have a lot of possibility to trigger the event, thanks because the forward can do the event also against the inner midfielder of the opponents. So the scoring skill will be higher of the forwards. They will be easy trigger the event against the inner midfielder of the opponents, and you can trigger the event comparing the skill of your forward to the goalkeeping of the opponent goalkeeper, as always. So this is important. So this is the main overview. Now the top 11, my favorite one, and you see already. We see the unpredictable in the defensive part, you see the man market powerful, you see that could be a quick winger, that do the assist, could be a head, you need some head somewhere to win the corner, etc. So you could put in the winger, in the inner midfielder, you need to have obviously the quick in the inner midfielder to win the offensive quick events. They're unpredictable to have more unpredictable possible to win also the assist, let me say, of the unpredictable. And the best duo today in 2025 are the powerful and the quick ones. Now this is just in a 3-5-2. Could be that you play 2-5-3, so you could choose other kind of composition. Also, you can decide to focus more in some specialties, and we will see later the concept of the specialty blocks. That is really interesting. But let's see why we want this top 11 specialty. Firstly, this is important because you don't need just to know the specialty, but also the event linked to this specialty. With the defenders, you have the unpredictable long pass. So both goalkeeper, both the defenders. With the powerful, you have the man marking, the guy that will man mark the opponents and will boost the man marking phase. With the quicks offensive, you will try to win the quick rushes on his own. This is the goal, to make it simple. And, sorry, this is a plus. What does it mean? That considering that the most important skill for that event is the scoring skill, the forward is the most relevant for the quick. After that, you have the quick rushes and passes the ball. That means the assist, and here you could have also the forward could do the assist, but anyway, also here you have this offensive player that can create for you two events: the quick rushes on his own and the quick rushes and passes the ball. After that, we have the magic PNF, the powerful normal forward that can generate extra chances after the failed one that could need to be normal, so not a counter attack. So for this reason, I told you before, if you play an extreme counter attack, it's not relevant to play with a powerful striker because won't generate an extra chance. After that, thanks to the unpredictable that I mentioned before, you won't have just the unpredictable long pass, but with the defenders and with the inner midfielder, you will have the assist that is the unpredictable special action. That means assist that, if you are lucky, that will go to a forward with a lot of scoring, you will have more chance to convert that action. And also, for example, in the long pass, you need a higher level of passing, you trigger the event, and if you are lucky that the long pass will go to the forward, you will have more chance to convert the special event because the scoring skill of the forward will be compared to the goalkeeping of the goalkeeper. The unpredictable on his own. Here is just with the offensive player, and is in this example you could create just with the inner midfielder, is with the scoring skill. Of course, you could also have the forward, but I told you why before. I don't recommend, but you can use it because if you have a nice unpredictable from the academies with 1.5 fidelity bonus, I cannot judge you. I can understand you. So remember that also the forward can create this event that at the end is the goal of the unpredictable event that is comparable with the quick rush on his own. But be careful that with these unpredictable players you can create the unpredictable mistake that anyway, thanks to defending skill higher, mailing the defender, you will have less chance to see. And now we are with the corner to head. That means corner to head, I don't remember, special set pieces, I think yes, is relevant. On top of that, the number of head players are counting and they are compared to the number of head player of the opponent. And the last but not the least, the winger to head. So as I told you before, winger skill to a head player that, thanks to the scoring skill, will try to convert the action in goal. One topic is the fact that if, for example, you are lucky to have two specialty players, one in the winger and one in the forward, and you have the 50, and you trigger the winger to head, you have the 50% possibility to have the action or in the quick player or in the head player. If you have the luck to see trigger the winger to head even in the winger that is already head, you have the 100%, you are 100% sure that that event will go directly to the forward. Why? Because the winger that will trigger the event and will do the assist cannot do the head action, let me say, because he's doing the assist, cannot score the goal. Therefore, if you have just two head, one is winger, the other is forward, and if you trigger the winger assist with your head, you will be sure to receive the head even to your forward, that is with a lot of scoring and will have a lot of chance to make the goal. So this is something that could be interesting in the strategy that you are building your team around the specialty, to think about the specialty blocks and how to leverage on them. Now, this is the tier list. Simply, for me, are not relevant the supporter and the resilient. The technical could be interesting if he's a player coming from the academy. Is frequent the event of the technical guy versus the head one if the opponent will have it, and you will see a lot of players play with head one, so you will see the event. The problem is the fact that you need to have a lot of scoring, so you need to put us forward, and anyway you have the problem that a lot of player opponent could mark your player. The head one for me are, you need to have some heads, because anyway the winger to head and the corner to head are still available. It means that are not completely killed, like they are not relevant like the past, but still they are present in the match engine. You will see them, so if you win the event is better, and of course the head players is not also impacted from the weather, so could be important have some of them. But the most important specialty are the three ones. The quick ones mainly for the offensive players, because you will have a lot of chance to score goals or make assists than to the quick one. The unpredictable mainly in the defense, because are the defender unpredictable, are the most important, is the most important specialty to improve your expected goals from the defensive side. And the powerful, the PNF is so important, the main market is so important, and also the defensive inner midfielder could make sense. So these are the three top specialty in 2025. In conclusion, I wanted to mention the specialty blocks concept, because sometimes the people is buying player specialties without thinking which the right focus on the specialty blocks, because you need to win the event. That means that you need to have more specialty of quicks, for example, than the opponents, because if you have specialty, a number of special, or I don't know, you have just 2 quicks and your opponent will have 4 quicks, is useless that you have these 2 quicks. So you need to think about the quicks, you need to think about the specialty blocks. Example, we have 2 matches in this example: Italy against Denmark and Spain against Cameroon. Here you have the lineup, and I try to underline the specialty blocks. So Italy try to leverage on the unpredictable in the defensive part for the long pass, and also try to win the quick offensive events with 4 quicks. Denmark was decided to not fight with the quick offensive, maybe because they know that they were not able to win, and they focused on other specialties. Firstly, they were at the same level with the defensive players, but they had more unpredictable players, considering also the winger. Therefore, they were winning the special action and the own his own event, because they were with 1, 2, 3, 4 unpredictable, meanwhile we were with just 3 like Italy. The long pass was the same, because there was the goalkeeper and the 2 defender like in Italy, but the other 2 events of the unpredictable was Denmark that was winning that events with their blocks of unpredictable. On top of that, they had 2 PNF. That this is a strange situation, because also here there was, I think, the rain, so they pushed for that. They want to improve the inner midfield ratio, so they put 2 PNF with more playmaking. So it's a strange scenario. Anyway, they had 2 PNF. Italy won the two head events, and as I told you before, we did what I mentioned. Therefore, there was the head winger that if was triggering the events of the winger doing the assist, the only player available in all the lineup that could score the goal with the head event was Cassero, the forward, with 15-16 scoring, and this was relevant because I was 100% sure that Cassero could have a good chance to convert the winger to head event. So we had the quick event. So at the end, every match you can understand if you are winning the events thanks to your blocks, and thanks to that decide to play creativity or not. Italy, for example, was winning both the goal and the assist of the quicks, and both the events of the heads. Meanwhile, Denmark was winning two positive events of the unpredictable, but also there was some risk to have the negative events of the own goal. A comment also, if you have, for example, in this case, the long pass with the same level, the number of players, if you play creativity, you could have more chance to see the event assigned to you, because you have the same number, but you play creativity. Therefore, you have more chance. In this case, also here, you can see that Spain wanted to win the defensive battle of the unpredictable, put three inner midfielder heads that without a malus, because they are not suffering the weather, and they try to win all the events of the heads. They were below quits, just the wingers. Meanwhile, Cameroon was completely winning this, and was interesting because they were improving a lot the counter attack of the 4-4-2 thanks to all these specialty quicks. And so at the end, the Spain won all the events of the unpredictable, the heads, and he was the only one having the powerful striker that was a good and really important advantage. Meanwhile, Cameroon was with the two quick events, the goal and the assist, and was also with the no tactical counter-attack of the technical guy that was not so relevant. And I forgot to mention the technical guy of the Denmark. They put three technical guy. Maybe I was wrong. The weather was with the sun, and they tried to push the midfield thanks to the technical guy. They had the malus of the PNF for the weather, but anyway, the PNF are with a lot of playmaking, so they tried to play a 3-5-2, a defensive 3-5-2 with a lot of midfield thanks to the pushed technical guy, thanks to the sun, and with the playmaking level of skill of the PNF. Here, anyway, they were not able to trigger the event of the technical guy against the head ones, because you could generate just against head players as inner midfielder or defenders. We play without the winger, therefore they were not able to trigger that events. Therefore, our head players could not be countered, let me say. So this is just for your info. And now let's conclude with the main output after all these contents. The final output is the following. Defensive block, unpredictable. Main one is in this moment, from my point of view, are the main one. Offensive block, quick ones, but be careful, because some player anyway can think that they don't care about the defensive block to win the long pass unpredictable event. They want still to stop your quicks, and it's possible a lot of players are using it. So if you are just leveraging on the offensive block with a lot of quick players as forward, but you will be countered at 100% by the central defender of your opponent, all your strategy could be destroyed. Therefore, sometimes maybe is better diversify. The forward quick is so relevant. Maybe not two. So if you play 2-5-3 and you play with the PNF, you play with a quick forward, and maybe the other one could be not only quick but another specialty. As I told you, the PNF is so important, is a must-have in this moment in HATTRICK in 2025. Also, the main marker is a must-have in a top level, not maybe in the middle league, but also in the middle league, because if you do a good main mark, you will have a huge advantage. And the main marker are not so expensive if you buy older player. Others, what does it mean? For the firstly ad, you need to have some ad around the lineup. On top of that, as I told you before, the offensive block could be countered by by players that are using quick defenders. So you need to leverage on other specialties. And remember that there is not only dead players, but also you have other special elements that are triggered also by no specialty player, that are the corner and the winger to make an assist. And for the corner is set pieces, and you have more chance to trigger thanks to the midfield, as I was mentioning at the beginning. For the winger that make the assist, here is just a matter of the winger skill of the winger. After that, everyone can score, looking always at the scoring level. On top of that, you can also think about the forward, technical forward, because the event technical against head is you can find, there are a lot of probability to see. To convert, you need scoring skill. So to support the forwards, the offensive block, just don't use the quicks, but diversify. PNF, heads, maybe technical if it's coming from your academy, remember it. So this is the final output. And that's it, guys. I think that with this video you have a better overview. I will put you the link of the forum as I told you, so you can deeply analyze all the details of the specialties, because there are huge details that can need to be analyzed by you. And what I can say, for me, no specialty player, guys, if you want to win, to be competitive, if you have the budget, everyone should have 11 specialty players, because give you an advantage about the extra action and the expected goals. If your opponent is not leveraging on the specialties, you can play creativity, you can trigger even 3 action more, improving a lot your expected goals. Therefore, it's really something that it's important to understand also how to counter, how to leverage on with the specialty blocks. And of course, in the national teams is another topic. We have no problem on budget. The best player I can select and that's it. But speaking about the clubs, you can do trade-off. I understand you if you are not able to buy all specialty players, also because they have 10% more of salaries. I think it was makes sense that HATTRICK did this upgrade in the rules that you pay more them. But anyway, the good player, the good user, the good owner, manager that is able to create extra money and is able to pay 11 top players with the specialty, from my point of view, will have an advantage compared to the opponents. So I hope that this video will help you to enjoy the game. See you in the next video, and thank you. Ciao ciao.